Opening gambit. The NBA offseason is far from over, but if you needed one certifiable winner, look no further than the Atlanta Hawks. In just a few days, they've executed back-to-back maneuvers that will reshape their franchise for years. By the time next summer rolls around, we may well look back and ask, how on earth did they pull this off? Hawks players celebrating on court, GM moving pieces on a draft board graphic. These moves aren't flukes, they're surgical. First, Atlanta sent the 13th overall pick in this year's draft to the New Orleans Pelicans, and in return, they got the 23rd pick, plus an unprotected first-rounder in 2026 from whichever team, Pelicans or Bucks, finishes worse. Then, they flipped Terrence Mann, Niang, and the 22nd pick to Dallas for Kristaps Porziņģis, while also shedding Mann's 3-year, $45 million contract. 2 blockbuster trades in rapid succession, and suddenly the Hawks boast a top 20 pick, a potential top 10 pick, cap flexibility, a superstar big man, and a young roster on the rise. But beyond the flashy headlines lies a deeper strategy. Atlanta has mastered timing, leverage, and value extraction. They capitalized on impatient teams, converted mid-first-round selections into premium future assets, and acquired a high-upside veteran without mortgaging their core. Stay tuned as we dissect exactly how and why Atlanta is finessing the NBA landscape. The 13, Joy 23, plus unprotected. Pick steal. Let's start with the draft day coup. Atlanta traded the number 13 pick to New Orleans for the number 23 pick, plus an unprotected first-round pick in 2026, from whichever of the Pelicans or Bucks finishes lower. Why would New Orleans agree? It's a case study in impatience. Last year, the Pelicans surrendered 2 future firsts, DeAnthony Melton and Larry Nance Jr., to move up for Dyson Daniels, an overpay that backfired when Murray got hurt and Daniels underwhelmed in the playoffs. This time, they doubled down on short-term upside, gambling on rookie guard Derek Queen to burst onto the scene, and on Zion Williamson's health to snap back. But more than anything, they wanted to leap ahead of Atlanta's selection, an admission that they view a single pick swap as worth risking a future lottery ticket. Atlanta's worst-case scenario? They lose pick 13 for pick 23 and their own mid-teens pick in 2026. That's already terrific value. Best case? They end up with pick 23 and a top 10 pick in 2026. 2 bites at the apple for the price of 1. This isn't luck, it's leverage. Atlanta exploited New Orleans' urgency and Milwaukee's potential fall, because whichever team declines will yield that unprotected pick. It's pure optionality. Buy low now and let volatility do the rest. Why that unprotected pick could be gold. Next, let's quantify that 2026 pick's upside. The unprotected asset comes from the worst finishing team between New Orleans and Milwaukee. Bucks highlights without Giannis. Milwaukee features Giannis Antetokounmpo, a generational talent, but he misses 15 to 20 games every season due to load management and occasional injuries. Without Giannis, the Bucks skid toward the lottery. In the 2023-24 season, when Giannis sat out extended stretches, they finished with a sub-400 record. If Giannis sits out again, expect Milwaukee to flirt with a bottom 5 finish, meaning that pick could easily land inside the top 8. Pelicans highlights: Zion, Murray, flip to New Orleans. Zion Williamson's game-changing talent is clouded by injuries. He hasn't played more than 50 games since 2018. DeJounte Murray is coming off an Achilles tear, and the supporting cast is a patchwork of youth and veterans. Betting on them to outperform both Atlanta and Milwaukee is a tall order. Put another way, Atlanta only needs one of Nope or Mill to falter for that pick to soar. And if both teams overperform, the Hawks still have the number 23 pick plus their own 2026 mid-first choice. It's a win-win design few franchises could engineer. Porziņģis enters the arena. Hot on the heels of the draft steal, Atlanta pulled the trigger on the Kristaps Porziņģis deal. They shipped Terrence Mann, Niang, and their number 22 pick to Dallas in exchange for KP, and offloaded Mann's remaining 3 years at roughly $15 million per season. Porziņģis hitting step-back threes, Mann playing on fast break. Porziņģis brings rare upside. At 7'3", he protects the rim, shoots nearly 40% from three, and can score 20-plus points on any given night. From 2019 to 2023 in Washington and Boston, he averaged about 21 points, 7.8 rebounds, and 1.7 blocks per game on efficient shooting splits of roughly 50, 39, 84. That mismatch nightmare can tilt playoff series, but his Achilles heel? Durability. KP has yet to play more than 60 games in a season, often sidelined by knee and calf issues, and that mysterious illness in last year's playoffs still raises eyebrows. Expecting him to suit up every night is optimistic, yet Atlanta mitigated that risk. They boast depth at the 5 spot. Onyeka Okongwu and Clint Capella remain under contract, providing reliable rim protection and rebounding. Their rookie big can fill spot minutes, and Jalen Johnson, at 6'9" with guard-switching versatility, gives further insurance. If Porziņģis misses 20-30 games, the Hawks won't collapse. If he provides 50-plus high-impact appearances, they're championship caliber. Fortress of depth and flexibility. Beyond the stars, Atlanta's roster construction is a masterclass in flexibility. Onyeka Okongwu averaged roughly 14 points and 10.5 rebounds per 36 minutes last year, anchoring the paint when Porziņģis sat out and logging one of the team's best defensive ratings. Clint Capella contributed approximately 12 points and 11.4 rebounds per 36, his veteran presence helping stabilize the frontcourt rotation. Jalen Johnson, a Swiss Army knife at 6'9", posted about 12 points and 6 rebounds per 36, while holding opponents to sub-45% shooting, proof that he can guard multiple positions. Cap flexibility. By moving Mann's contract, Atlanta cleared mid-level exception room and breathed below the luxury tax, leaving wiggle room for a mid-season splash or to absorb salary in a trade. Then there are the rookies. Dyson Daniels posted around 12 points, 6 boards, and 4 assists per 36 minutes in Summer League, shooting 35% from three while averaging nearly 2 steals per game, highlighting his defensive prowess and playmaking. Zach Reese averaged about 11 points and 7 rebounds per 36, knocking down threes at a 38% clip and swatting over 2 blocks per 40 minutes. His length and instincts project him as a 3-and-D starter by year 2. Depth, upside, and room for growth, that's the blueprint. Eastern Conference chessboard. All these moves come against the backdrop of an Eastern Conference in upheaval. Celtics practicing without Tatum and Holiday, Knicks coach search headlines, Pacers running without Halliburton, Boston may start the season missing Jason Tatum to shoulder recovery, Drew Holiday to free agency, and Marcus Smart to a player option. The New York Knicks still haven't hired a proven head coach. Indiana lost Tyrese Halliburton this summer. Detroit and Charlotte remain young and untested. Even Milwaukee's depth without Giannis is shaky. Into that vacuum steps Atlanta. Trae Young, a nightly 30-point threat, now has floor spacing, rim protection, and defensive versatility around him. He'll draw doubles, creating kickouts for shooters and lanes for cutters. On the other end, he benefits from team switching and help defense anchored by Porziņģis and the Capella-Okongwu duo. Suddenly, the Hawks aren't just playoff hopefuls. They're favorites to reach the Eastern Conference Finals. They check all the boxes: star power, supporting cast, depth, and cap flexibility. Few teams can claim that in July. Finale and subscriber hook. So, who really got played? Not the Pelicans or the Bucks. They simply underestimated Atlanta's leverage and patience. The true finesse was executed by the Hawks, turning mid-first-round picks into premium future assets, acquiring a high-ceiling veteran, and assembling a young core built for both today and tomorrow. Atlanta's blueprint: draft arbitrage yields pick 23 plus future unprotected pick. High upside veteran acquisition in Porziņģis, depth through Okongwu, Capella, Johnson, youth movement with Daniels and Reese, cap space preserved for future maneuvers. As the 2025-26 season tips off, track Atlanta's rise. Watch that unprotected 2026 pick, monitor Porziņģis's games played, and tune into Daniels' defensive highlights. This team is cooking, and they've only just begun. Trae Young at center court, arms raised in celebration. If you want more inside takes on how front offices are reshaping the NBA, smash that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell, because when it comes to roster wizardry, we're just getting warmed up. Welcome to the new era of Atlanta basketball.